who doesn't like affordable lenses that actually work? Is this one of them? Let's find out. I have been a fan and I have been using 7Artisans lenses for a long time. From very cheap and nothing special lenses to beautifully made and full of character manual optical masterpieces. Maybe not masterpieces, but really interesting and very good lenses. New chapter for 7Artisans is autofocusing lenses that are affordable and more accessible. We had 50 and 85mm primes already, and this is the third one in the set. 24mm f1.8 full frame autofocusing lens, and it is available for Sony E, Nikon Z and this L-mount versions. For your info, all the samples shot with it in this video were shot on Lumix S1II, and this lens was sent to me by 7Artisans and I can keep it, but I was not asked to say anything specific about it and they had totally no input on this video. So what do we have here? Just as the previous lenses in this series, this is no frills prime with wide aperture of f1.8. 24mm is a very odd focal length for me. I do love wide angle 20mm lenses. I have no problem shooting with 35 or 50mm, but I am struggling to find love for this focal length. It is borderline wide angle, not quite. It is wide enough for street or landscape photography for sure, but the biggest difference between a proper wide angle and this lens is that 24mm shows less of the wide angle distortion. It feels more like almost wide angle that kind of fits into standard lens category. Kind of. Simply, if you find 20 too wide and 35mm not wide enough, this should feel more natural for you to use. I find 24mm prime totally different than 24mm end of 2470 or 2460mm lenses. I never think about it when using a zoom, it's part of the package, but here there is just something missing for me. But that does not mean that there is anything wrong with this focal length. It's just a focal length that you need to know why and what for you need it before buying it. So I took it out. I shot a lot of photos with it, and the first impressions were almost very positive. The lens has got quite a few issues, but somehow it all doesn't really matter that much here. It is a wide aperture prime, but it really can't deliver sharp results wide open. That's very rare these days. Here everything shot wide open has got that softness and double edge. If you like pixel peeping and you want a perfect optically lens, this is not it. Instead, it gives you more of a vintage imperfections and character. Shooting with it is more for fun and artistic expression than really nailing it. Closing aperture down, especially to f4, makes it really sharp, but that somehow is defying the wide aperture prime objective. Okay, generally speaking, but it really shines at f4. Decent subject to background separation and okay bokeh, but crazy amount of flaring and fringing wide open. I had to use it more for 24mm focal length than unfortunately anything else really. Minimum focusing distance is 32cm, not particularly close. It's not really a lens for capturing meaningful close-ups with. Autofocusing on S1II is okay. I had a lot of issues with 7Artisans 50mm AF lens. This seems to work okay most of the time. 24mm is a decent focal length for filming yourself with when you want to show your surrounding but without going ultra wide angle. It allows you to be close enough to the camera to clearly see yourself on the camera and to operate the camera while you are in front of it. The autofocus is almost silent as well, making it more suitable for filming with it. Built externally identical to 50 and 85mm lenses, similar size too. It weighs 424 grams. Not a bad looking lens either. Metal construction with hard plastic externally, really nicely smooth focus ring, standard AF MF switch, and surprising for a lens in this class, focus hold button. Manual aperture ring, nice, but I had some problems with it. It works to control aperture manually, as it should, but when I put it in auto mode to control it via the camera, it often starts to behave erratically. It changes to f16 for no reason, and then it won't go past f4 until I switch it back to manual and then back to auto. Not a biggie, it still works, but a little bit frustrating sometimes. This is something they could easily fix with a future firmware update. And for installing those, there is a USB-C socket at the mount of the lens. This lens has got no weather sealing at all, standard in this class, and the filter thread is 62mm. Price. This is a budget-friendly option, not exactly dirt cheap, but very affordable. £299 here in UK or $329 in US. Certainly it could be a spur of the moment purchase. It has got issues, and when you spend money on something, even if it is not a lot of money, you want something that works. This lens works, but not for everything. £100 or dollars less, and I would say that it is good value for money. At this price, it is okay, but you will need to know why you want or need this lens and how you can make it work for the type of photography that you shoot. Conclusion: after initial disappointment with the lack of sharpness wide open, I've learned to actually like it. When closing the aperture down, it becomes much more usable. If you must have wide aperture lens for nighttime photography, this might not be it. If you want a vintage vibe, imperfect look that vintage lenses usually deliver, this could be right up your street, and the lack of sharpness wide open won't even matter. Not everyone needs a perfect lens. Sometimes the process of taking photos is more important than the final results, and those are subjective anyway. I wouldn't buy this lens for professional work. It's not meant for that. If you need a perfect 24mm prime, there are other more expensive options available that are better optically than this. Generally speaking, this lens is okay for majority of applications this focal length is suitable for. Close the aperture down a little and it can deliver really nice images. Do your research before buying, and if you are aware that it is not a perfect lens, it might actually serve you very well. And this is it from me this time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.